Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the annual Hershey Antique Car Show in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the largest car show on the East Coast. Using the world's largest video camera, we capture it all. This year's 2011 Spectacular features Mr. Cris Detwiler and his 1946 Nash Ambassador.
This is Cris Detwiler. He's going to tell us a little bit about his 46 Ambassador. What's unique about the 46 Ambassador?
Everything, truthfully. Nash was one of the first companies that started back after the war. Started with it. They had two lines. They had an 8-cylinder before the war. After the war, they started with two different 6-cylinders. They had a flathead 6-cylinder and they had an overhead valve 6-cylinder. This is an Ambassador. It has the overhead valve 6-cylinder in it. This also has a frame under it, where they had the flathead 6-cylinder was a unitized body, so there was no frame under it. That had the flathead. So the Ambassador is 9 inches longer than the 600 series. They named the 600 series because it had a 20-gallon gas tank, would get 30 miles to the gallon, so you could go 600 miles on the tank full. Ambassador, as you can see, it has an overhead valve 6-cylinder in it. With the overhead valve, it has 7 main bearings. That way it runs true. Nash was the first also to have a cross-flow radiator in it. That's why there's an expansion tank on the top. With that, the water flows across it. Okay, there is still a water pump on the back, so there's a shaft through the generator that runs the water pump. The exhaust manifold is just below the intake manifold. That heats the intake manifold up early. That way it comes up to operating temperature, so you do get more miles per gallon. Usually with this one I get about 22 miles per gallon. Now with this one I have added some accessories. The biggest one is the bed in the back. With the convertible double bed, that's what they called it. They started that in 1938, and making the back seat fold down into the bed. They kept that through 1948, so that it was considered a convertible double bed. It said a 6-foot person could sleep comfortably with that. I also have the screen, so that when you're actually sleeping, you don't have to worry about the bugs. There was one neat thing about it. Once you crawl in and close the door, now you want to lock the door so that you're safe. Here's the lock. I'm standing outside the car to do this. We were trusting souls back in 1946.
Yeah.
Another unique feature we have on the car is a rear wiper.
Yeah, and then people
Everyone thinks that a 1981 Honda is the first car with a rear wiper. Actually, Nash had it and some of the other ones had it too. And it is an intermittent wipe because it's vacuum operated. If you have vacuum, it works. If you don't have vacuum, it doesn't. A couple other things that I have in here. My wife made a quilt of all of the ads from 1946, 47, or 48. Nash also made an air mattress. Now this isn't 46, this is a little bit later. What you do is, it is a mattress just like you would do in any pool or anything. It has a valve on it, okay? So that you pull it out, and you take off the valve cap, put that on here, the tube that you store it in, you put it together, you can see the valve on the end, and you actually pump the air tube up. So that way when you wanted to use the raft, you were not out of breath. A couple other things that I have made. It's a first aid kit. Nash never made a first aid kit. I work for a utility company, and these were old metal ones. We were asked to get rid of them, and so I borrowed one of them and actually made all of the supplies inside from Nash. It's like a Nash deal. Nash made wrenches. So I had my mother-in-law, who has one of those fancy sewing machines, make me a Nash toolkit. Even with Nash actually made a mistake. One of the wrenches had an A forged upside down.
We got her.
I have one. I have fun with making things too. I'll show you. I found a picture of, this is in the Nash plant right after the war. And they had first car, second car, third car as they came down the line. I had my father-in-law colorize this picture, and you can see I had him put this as the second car coming off the line. It's not, but it is. If we go to the front of the car, I'll show you some. In those same lines where we have some fun, I found a Nash dealership picture from my hometown. On the computer, I found a licensed bottom and topper from that dealership in my hometown. I gave the picture to my father-in-law, and I had him colorize it. He looked at the dealership sign, and that looked like it was glass, so it would have had fluorescent lights to make it yellow. I knew the Nash was red neon, and there's a couple of window things that I knew those colors were red and blue. And I had him go so far as to color this car to make it look like this car is actually sitting in the showroom from 1946.
Pretty clever. Yeah.
Okay. From that, taking that in consideration, I found the new car dealer license plate. So we might as well throw it with the new car dealer license plate. Also, the red reflectors have the word Nash actually molded into them to go from a Nash dealer. This car also has the grill guard accessory on it. In case you run into a cow or anything else. Very rare piece. I've looked for 4 years to find one, and about 3 years ago at Hershey, walking around, I found a new old stock.
Most impressive.